Booster positive energy without one. Sorry about the jab. I'm on a holy field. I'm bearing fruit, but demons try to eat them like Yoshi meals. I pissed them off the Batman like Falcone deals. Jungle full of predators. I know how Mowgli feels. So I got the fire. Refuse to live in fear. I can spot suppliers eating fresh drugs. Call me private.
Oh yeah! Welcome to episode 251 of the Permaculture Pimpcast, the only Pimpcast on planet Earth where we discuss permaculture, preparedness, and practical living. How you doing, honey?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. This episode, as always, brought to you by Hickory Ridge Soap from TwoOldCrowsHomestead.com.
Turn that simp into a pimp.
Bam! Heaven's Harvest, 10% off with promo code PERMA. Remember, handle all your preparedness needs yourself, especially in these times. Don't worry, we're going to get into all that today. But anything you can't source yourself, anything you can't do yourself, go check out Heaven's Harvest. You'll get 10% off with promo code PERMA. And if you want to tip a pimp, do it over there on the Fountain app. Listen to all your podcasts over there, even triple up the speed. And if you want to drop a derivation of Bitcoin on a player, you can do it over there in the form of SATs or Satoshis, but they call them SATs or sats. So drop a SAT on a PIMP. Want to thank everybody for coming in right now. Give me one quick second because it's as hot as the blazes up in here. Okay. Had to hit that switch to turn on that fan because, here we are in November and it's got to be 80s.
Yeah, it was almost
80s.
80 today.
Well, in this room right now, it's got to be more than 80.
Yeah.
So, but hey, one cool thing is I don't see any streaks in the sky. So how about that? In fact, in the chat, let me know if you guys are seeing any out there because I don't know what's going on, but the last couple of days haven't seen. I mean, how crazy is it? What planet do you live on when you look up in the sky and it now seems weird to see a crystal clear blue sky? In fact, the video I did over Ben and Denise's at Renewed Homestead, I even pointed it out in that video and I even took a picture. I mean, took video of it like, man, you just don't see skies this blue anymore. And so it seems very odd when they don't spray. I mean, wow, what kind of terrarium are we living in when that seems to be the case? But if anybody else is there getting it, by all means, let me know. Michelle, you're going to have to be looking at some of the chat in here because with these BCGs on them, for those that don't know, birth control glasses, look, man, they're basically blocking all the blue light in here, but it makes it very difficult for me to see what you guys are writing out there. So my sidekick here is going to be handling some of that. So once again, y'all, if you're coming in right now, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up so they know to suppress us immediately because you know how that goes. And for those that don't know us, look, y'all, Pimpcast, Pimp, you can see it. It's an acronym. Stands for permaculture is my passion. So please stop sending me emails. Oh my gosh, you're calling yourself a pimp. How dare you? I thought you were a farmer. Look, man. Look, get over it, okay? I'm not changing the name. And for all of you very, how do I say it, manipulative people out there that say, I'm going to quit watching if you don't stop calling yourself a permaculture pimp daddy. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, especially when you try to manipulate me. That's, of all the things that people do, that's the thing that aggravates me most. I will lose money. I will lose everything before I succumb to the people out there saying, look, the idea, once again, I'm going to say this one last time. I keep saying that every time I say it. I'm going to say it one last time. The idea of a name like that, first of all, I want to give a hat tip to my man, Eric Sider, who came up with the name. So blame Eric.
Poor Eric. Don't blame Eric.
No, actually, I think it was a great idea. It all started from a joke that I began years ago. But anyway, the idea was, if I'm going to use something like that, man, I can't call myself a pimp. I mean, obviously that's a very distasteful thing, but for kids in the hood that grow up, you know, that look a little bit like me, they're going to find that if I can make them laugh or somehow be able to bring those people in, that's the idea is, oh, you mean to tell me there's a guy that looks like him? He's growing all of his food for free. Wow. He's making money on his chicken tractor on steroids. He's making money on his meat birds. He grows all of his ruminants for free. Man, if that guy who looks like him looks a little bit like me, if he can do it, then I can do it. And it's also a little calling card for all the ladies out there and look, I read your emails. I may not have time to respond to all of them, especially with all the things going on right now. look, I know there's a lot of deadbeat guys out there, especially during football season. Ladies, I hear you. No two ways about it, but there's a lot of good guys out there too. Or you got some of these guys that ran off with a go-go dancer and left you with 3 kids. You see somebody like me doing this, it might give you a little bit of encouragement to think that you can do it as well. But yeah, we got the receipts. That's why we have the YouTube channel, so we can show you how we do it. And as I said before, we're going to start doing more of preparedness type things, because if you think we crossed that finish line, I got news for you. Stick around for this show, y'all. So let's go on to the farm news. Man, I was out there putting together another compost pile. I'm not going to film this one. I don't see any reason to do it. If you want to know the specifics, you can go check. I've done like chapter and verse about all the do's and don'ts and all that other stuff in regular YouTube. But if you want to get more instruction, obviously for as little as $1, you can check us out on Patreon. But I'm out there right now working on another compost pile, and this one is going to have, I want to give a shout out to Amy and Ken, who are going to hook us up with some chicken guts and I guess feathers. Maybe?
Yep, feathers too. She asked if we wanted the feathers. I said, yep.
Yeah, so chicken feathers, guts, the whole 9 yards. And the reason she's laughing right now.
Yes, I do want the feathers. Is
Yeah.
that better?
Yeah, that's a whole lot better. Yeah, she pops her peas when she's nervous, because she gets nervous when she's doing this thing. And I know it's tough for everybody to hear.
I think it's a thing at this point. It's not something I usually do.
Yeah, you do it when you're on the podcast.
But that's the only time.
Because you're nervous. That's exactly
that's
the point.
not why.
Yeah, because look, I mean, look, all of us, we got to push ourselves, y'all. And this is part of her doing that, is that she's not she's the smartest one in the room. Right now, she's definitely the smartest one in the room in so many different ways. And when she's in the company of other people, she will dumb down her.
No,
yeah, let's be honest here.
I'm just not the most vocal person.
She will acquiesce. I'll be nicer about it, but the point is, she'll acquiesce and pretend like she doesn't know everything that I know she knows. And there's a whole bunch of reasons for that. But anyway, this is part of her being on this show, is not only because she knows what she's talking about, but also she's a great color commentator. When not even. You're getting better. You're getting better. But hey, that's how you do anything. I mean, it's like you feel like a pig on roller skates when you're processing chickens the first 5 times. And then, time number 6, you start feeling, and it's the same thing with everything else, y'all. So when you see our videos, and like one of the videos I'm working on right now is, what do I do with old meat that's been sitting in the freezer for 3 years? It might actually shock you. But hey, I didn't become a butcher overnight. I had to go in there. I didn't know the first thing about butchery. The first day I was in there, it was like, oh my goodness, man, it's like when you start a new job, you're always thinking, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, you're always thinking, man, I'm just overwhelmed by this. Am I going to make it? Are they going to fire me? Am I going to remember all this? And then give it 2 months later, and then all of a sudden it's like, not a problem at all. So folks, don't be intimidated when you see us do some of the things we do in these videos. Yeah, I know a lot of new people are getting into this, but we've been at this for well over like 25 years. So yeah, so we got a lot of, learning, and there's still a ton more learning to do. So don't be intimidated by that. That's exactly what I want to get out. But yeah, when it comes to this compost making, that's another one of those things where right now in Western North Carolina, we got a disaster that's still unfolding and nobody's talking about it. And the remediation strategy all starts with compost. And folks, right now, I got people beating me up over the head, you name it, blowing me up in every 30 ways to Sunday, because they know we make fantastic compost here. And this is what I've been trying to teach everybody forever and a day. Now, we're going to try and do, some folks have reached out to me to ask about.
Can you move over to there you go.
What's the problem?
You got to center up in the thing. You're like frame. Hanging off the.
Oh, well, anyway, now that I'm centered, we're going to try to do some local stuff as far as I can teach you composting to a certain extent on YouTube. Okay. There's certain things I can only go so far, but I can't tell you what it smells like. You can only see what the camera will let you see. Okay. It should look like 70% cocoa. It should smell like, and when you smell it, you will not be able to unsmell it. So we're going to try to do more of those things in the future. And man, there's some stuff coming up that honestly, everybody, whether you're in this disaster area or if you are not, I'm going to ask you to participate. You might want to know about. So anyway, making compost is a full court press. And I want to give a shout out to Ken and Amy. I also want to give a shout out to Ben and Denise, because a lot of the poop we have, whether it's coming from geese, whether it's coming from turkeys, whether it's coming from chickens, rabbits, even their cows. I mean, we're getting a lot of that from Ben and Denise over at Renewed Homestead. So check them out as well. So other things we were doing around here, I was, looking to get some wood, but man, with all the stuff going on, I'm spending more time on the phone right now than I would like. I'm not putting out as many videos as I would like. Because like I told y'all, I mean, I don't care if I lose subscriptions out of it, because I've never been in, neither one of us have been in this to gain subscribers. If I were, I'd be having babies at gas stations, you dig? So that's not my motive. We're a how-to channel. That is what we do. And the podcast is an extension of that. Now, the podcast is not always going to be live, y'all. There's going to be a lot of episodes that I know that YouTube is going to tank that you'll never see live. But since they kind of taken the brakes off a little bit on here, we're going to actually talk about some stuff, especially since they've kind of opened up the runway a little bit. So we're just going to keep doing that until we get the impression that maybe they're suppressing us again. So once again, if you're coming in right now, y'all hit that thumbs up. So Michelle, you were out on the porch organizing some stuff today. What were you up to on the farm as far as farm news?
Well, I'm just trying to get the front porch cleaned off and organized. Started some more microgreen seeds. Other than that's about it. Just trying to get things cleaned up now that summer's over.
Yeah, well, that's part of it too. I mean, like right now, every single day I ate at least one salad. Okay, and frankly, I'm just not eating enough these days. I spent a lot of time on the phone today working on ways, and it goes right back to this remediation thing, y'all. So if I haven't been putting out videos more regularly, I guess I didn't finish that thought, is that I'm spending a fair amount of time. It's like trying to herd flipping cats, trying to find a place where I can do some windrow composting, trying to find a place where I can get a compost turner, trying to do all this without coming to y'all with my hat in my hand, asking for money to donate. So I'm doing everything I possibly can, even though so yeah, anybody calling us a grifter, you better take that back, because I probably had over 100 G's offered to me so far in these remediation strategies, and I've not accepted a dime, and I won't until I've exhausted every opportunity to get everything we can for free or get it from wealthy benefactors. So yeah, so she's hooking me up with these microgreens, which by the way, I eat every single day. I eat a salad. I'm eating that what was it, arugula you picked?
Arugula that we grew this fall in the high tunnel.
Yeah, so I'm eating some of that, and then microgreens every single day. And unlike a lot of other people that do microgreens just in like coconut coir or something else, what do you do to it?
We add a little bit, like we've been adding vermicompost. So I'll do coconut coir and then a layer of vermicompost, and then put another layer of coconut coir on top of it. We could also probably do just compost, like just water the seeds with compost extract.
Yeah, but the problem is I'd have to make it every single day. Right. So that's the downside of it. But instead of just taking your seeds and put them in an inert medium like coconut coir, we decided a while back, if we could use some of this ballin' vermicompost we got out here and use it to grow our seeds in, how much, I mean, if the microgreens are already fantastic, well, they got to be off the charts by doing it this way.
Yeah.
So I eat them every single day. I make a salad every single day. And it's on farm stuff, y'all. So I'm eating meat that's on the farm. I'm eating salad that's on the farm. And y'all, I am going back to my roots, and I'm going to show you once again how we do all of this stuff for free and how you can do it. Now, the downside is I'm going to use a 4-letter word, and I'm hoping people don't get offended here, but that word is work. You want to know the quickest way to tick me off? Especially if you come out here and you're an apprentice and you're like 20 years old and you're telling a guy who is in his 50s carrying buckets up the side of this hill to go feed pigs, man, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of work. Well, I'll tell you what, to do some of this stuff, I will work because the truth of it is I can't afford to go in there and buy the quality of meat that we raise. Truth is,
Yeah.
I can't afford that.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people get into it because they have to do it themselves.
Yeah, I can't afford that. So, I have to use a chicken tractor on steroids, and I'm going to be trying a whole new batch of birds in this next batch. I got to be raising my own stuff because, look, I'm not even going to lie to y'all, man. I'm something of a food snob. I love great food. That's why I love my man Chef Shane out there. We'll get to that in a minute. But I would rather eat out very, very little and go to some place that I know has fantastic food than going to a freaking McDonald's every day. If I know that I'm getting good, awesome, fantastic quality stuff. So, yeah, we'll come to that, like I said, here in a second. So you were organizing the porch. Okay, yesterday was, what's today? Thursday? No, Tuesday marks a milestone for me. I just got finished. I talked about this non-disclosure agreement that I signed with this company regarding this healthcare program, folks. And I told them I would not even talk about it on the program until A, I finished the program, and B, it better do what you claim it does. Michelle, your dog is about to knock everything over. Yeah, we got Dr. Doolittle up in here, and that dog's about to knock this thing over. So you might want to run that little heathen out of here. Anyway, I just finished the 88. Actually, when you add it all up, it's about 102 days. So I just finished that the other day, and that was on Tuesday. And the results, I'm not going to give it all to you right now. I'm going to wait and get these people on the show because I got a feeling that their protocol is going to help a ton of you out there. Let's be honest, y'all. Look, some of the people in worse shape right now are farmers. I mean that. And I included myself among those people. Well, I had some health concerns that were going on, and I did this for 102 days. I followed the protocol. Very simple, easy to do. And it's the polar opposite of what everybody in the medical community will tell you to do. Well, I'll put it this way. I'm down to I can't even believe it. I'm down to 167 pounds, which you think I look unhealthy.
I think you need to put on weight.
Yeah, I would agree. I need to put on muscle. I was doing good. I was doing really, really good until this whole storm happened. And then all of a sudden I quit doing any strength training. But folks, I'm telling you what, this protocol, it's not cheap, but I'll tell you what, it's a whole lot cheaper than insurance. And I'm going to get those folks on the show, and we're going to talk about it in the future. But if you're dealing with any kind of health concern, man, you might want to listen to some of this stuff because, like I said, I went through 88 days of it, or technically it's 88 days. When you add it all up, it's about 102 days. And it's to the point now where I've finished the program, but I am still doing it because I feel so good doing it. You see me doing it every morning.
Yeah.
Every single morning. I'm out here with my shirt off and I'm doing my thing. So, yeah, folks, I'll talk about that as soon as I get these folks lined up for the show. I don't want to jump the gun on that. I know some people are chomping at the bit and we're asking about it. But, yeah, everything your doctor is telling you to do right now, I'm doing the opposite. And now I'm finally getting results. How about that? I'll just tell you one thing. I probably have had the worst case of sleep apnea ever. And yeah, Michelle's wondering why I'm hitting her because you got to pay attention because
I'm paying attention to the comments.
You're playing on your phone over here.
Billy, I am reading comments.
Yeah, right now you need to give me an amen.
Billy, I have to keep
all
up
right,
with
I'm
the
going to go
comments.
down there and eat some sugar and see how you deal with that tonight.
You're the one that's not going to sleep tonight if you go eat sugar. How is that going to affect me?
Yeah, because you know what's going to happen. I'm going to be snoring. Well, y'all, when I first got diagnosed with sleep apnea, I had the worst. They had to give me a BiPAP. Folks, they almost kicked me out of the Army because of it. That's how bad I would snore. And on this protocol, I wore CPAP every single night. I don't wear it anymore, except on the days where if I go off the deep end or eat a bunch of crap I shouldn't eat, like I did on my 88th day. I ate pizza and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sure I was snoring, but instead of waking me up and telling me, hey, put on the mask, she just leaves the room and winds up on the couch. So, yeah. And plus I'm dealing with a cold. I got a little bit of a cold right now. But y'all, I was waking up with a headache using that machine. And William, who used to be a sleep tech, told me, he said, Dad, I think you probably ought to not wear that thing. I stopped wearing it, and that was a little weird because I'd been wearing it for so long. To not wear it seemed weird. And no more snoring. That's just one of the things I'm going to tell you about in the future. So anyway, keep an eye out for that. So other things we got going on the farm. It's been a while without rain. So if anybody's wanting bone sauce, you better get it because I'm not sure. Whenever the rain comes, that's when I can make it again. But I can't be setting the side of the mountain on fire. All right. So coming up. Okay, we got a couple of things that's going to be happening here soon. Okay, I know people were a little bit trepidatious about signing up for the pig processing class because it's November 15th and 16th. But look, we've gotten through the election. Nothing's happened yet. And if you want this training, now's the time to get it. That's going to be November 15th and 16th. Yeah, we're going to be doing the whole processing there, folks. All your questions are going to be answered, and you're going to walk away with a digital copy. So anybody that's going to be a Sow the Land, do we have that listed in the show notes?
Yeah, we link it in the show notes. It's also, there's a link to Jason's website from our website. So you actually sign up on his website.
Yeah, it's funny. Ken and Amy said, yeah, no rain since Helene.
Well,
yeah.
a lot of people in the comments are saying it's extremely dry where they live. And we have had a very dry year this year.
Yeah, it was already dry.
Minus the 30 inches we got in the hurricane, it's been very dry.
Yeah, but that's part of why we are permaculture practitioners, y'all, because we plan for these things. When things are dry, look, we still don't have to water. I mean, everything out there is doing just fine if you take the right dog to the hunt. And like I said, I'm going back to my roots. I'm going to be covering more and more of this. So every time you see a video, probably from here on out, it's going to be, yeah, it's all permaculture, but you're going to see the preparedness component baked into it because I'm going to be pointing it out to you. So, yeah, November 15th and 16th, November 22nd. Check this out, y'all. Mark your calendars. Uncle Mud is going to be, I don't have all the details right now, but he's going to be here in Western North Carolina. If you don't know who Uncle Mud is, basically his claim to fame is he does a lot of cool projects, but basically he's going to be talking about rocket mass heaters. One of the downsides of a lot of people that are doing what they're doing right now in Western North Carolina is everybody's thinking, okay, I'll just put up solar and then I don't have to look. If you think you're going to heat your home with solar, it is a fool's errand. Take it from me, 27-year journeyman electrician. If you want to see that little meter on your house spin, well, if they even used analog meters anymore, but if you want to see that thing work double time, run your dryer, run your heater on electric. You will wear those batteries out in just a few hours. I guarantee it, unless you have a battery bank and a solar array that is just insane. So Uncle Mud's going to be doing a little workshop. I think it's like a little teaser workshop. It's not going to be comprehensive this first time out, but basically to whet everybody's beak to let you know, look, there are small versions of a rocket heater that can keep you absolutely positively warm through the winter. And in fact, they ought to be, I mean, even if you have a regular house, you ought to consider retrofitting. In fact, I'm thinking about doing the same thing at our place, retrofitting your home. I got a buck stove down there right now that's great. I love it. But a rocket mass heater, man, that is exactly what the doctor ordered for all these people that are displaced. They're building a bunch of tiny homes. In fact, that was one of the phone calls I had today. Somebody wanting me to come out and shine the light on all the solar work that they're doing right now, pro bono, which is fantastic. I love it. But if you think you're going to be running buddy heaters through the winter on a solar heater, I got on a solar system, you're going to have some problems, nephew. It's one thing to run your lights and a few other small appliances, but to think you're going to run a giant resistor all night long, and then what if you get 5 days no sunlight? Yeah. So you can do a whole lot on a rocket mass heater, and you can do it in a very small space. So that's going to be Uncle Mud. It's going to be real close to Asheville. It's actually going to be in Bernardsville.
So what is he doing? Just an intro rocket mass heater class,
I don't know.
It's not going to be a full one.
I don't know the full extent of it. But basically I told him, hey man, as soon as I heard this dude was coming, I'm like, man, I've been wanting to do a workshop like this forever and a day anyway. And this is from one of the world's experts. So he's going to be coming in here doing this thing. And, so yeah, I'll give you exact location and details and dates and all that stuff. I didn't bring my phone up here. Yeah. Yeah, somebody says that shirt is loose as hell, my man. Yeah, all these shirts. I bought all these shirts. These are all large. Now I need mediums. So, yeah, I'm going to be floating away. I mean, I'm getting so skinny I can hang glide on a Dorito at this point. Okay, so check this out. Another little event coming up. And I kind of teased it out the last time we did a podcast. It's going to be on December 1st, and Chef Shane is going to be out there in, what's the name of that town again?
Spruce Pine.
Spruce Pine. That was one of the towns that was hardest hit, and it's the Appalachian Hat Company. They're going to be hosting us and whoever else wants to be there. I think that's going to be a Sunday, December 1st. The idea, I think initially, I'm going to know for sure after this weekend, because guess what? I'm going to go out there. If you hear a bunch of, okay, now we got a cat up in here. Michelle, come on now. Look, this cat's all tangled up in the doggone.
Just keep doing the podcast.
The cat's tangled up in the cord.
No, she's fine.
Anyway, yeah, Spruce Pine. No more animals in this room. That just happened. Anyway, yeah, for those in the listening realm, yeah, this cat just jumped. This is my house, I guess, you know. This cat is like, you want to pet me, you better come over here. Anyway. Okay, anyway, Spruce Pine, December 1st, Appalachian Hat Company. We're thinking it's probably going to be like a brunch type thing where you go up there and, folks, I'm telling you what, that food will knock your socks off. I am not kidding y'all. This, Michelle, am I lying?
No.
I mean, he could take something as simple as a bratwurst and he will pimp that thing out to the point where you're like, I don't even know. I don't even care what's in this brat, but this thing is off the chain. But anyway, he's come up with a fancy menu. When I say fancy, I mean, look, y'all,
it's not fancy. It's just good.
Solid food. It's
like his brat, like I had his brat when we were there, whenever it was, and he puts like some cheese he comes up with. I don't remember,
beer cheese or something.
And then he has this mustard, like
homemade mustard
that he puts something else in. It's like all the components together. He makes all the sauces that go on his stuff.
He makes all of his own sauces, his mustards, everything. And I'm telling you what, my man came up with this Perma Pimp sauce. That's what he calls it.
So that's honey? Is that the honey?
So I gave him like 2 gallons of honey one time. And so he invented what he calls the Perma Pimp sauce. Folks, I can't get enough of this stuff. I got a jar of it down there right now. And I have got to really put the brakes. I mean, this stuff is fantastic on anything. I mean, you can just take some ground beef, pour it on there. You got yourself a meal, but he calls it, the Perma Pimp sauce. And it's basically, I don't know, man. I don't know what he does with it. I don't care. I mean, he could stick his feet down in there for all I care if he can make food, if he can make food taste this good. But the idea is that it'll be something of a party with a purpose. The idea being that, number one, all of us in this audience can go out there, we can hang out, talk to one another, hang out. And really the truth of it is we're already getting amnesia as far as what happened. This is a really good opportunity for those of us in this area, in this listening area, to basically be in one spot and maybe start selecting people that you would like to work with to be part of your mutual assistance group. Or maybe this old boy down the road has a tractor, but maybe he needs a plumber. Maybe you're that person. Or maybe there's a person over here that wants to learn how to can, but you know how to can, but you don't know what that person does. Look, what works so well out in Kansas is exactly what I'm trying to make happen out here. And that's exactly so we're going to go out there. Whoever wants to go, that's going to be December 1st. And we're going to be, folks, I ain't going to lie. You're going to see a guy act a fool when I eat this food, because he's going to be doing those Belgian waffles that had everybody falling over themselves.
Oh, I didn't get one of those. And Ken and Amy said, is that the chef/food truck from the Jamboree? Yep, he had the food truck that was at the Jamboree.
Yeah. And he didn't even give you his best. I mean, he didn't want to upstage, honestly, those chefs that we had out there. Michelle, can you please get out of here, cat? Anyway, yeah, he
Well,
didn't
his
even,
fryer was broken too, wasn't it?
that's the part that broke my heart. I mean,
Broke your heart.
yeah, his fryer wasn't working, so he couldn't do his fries. Which, if you just taste the fries alone in this sauce that he makes to put on them, I don't even know what it is. I don't know what you call it, but all I know, it'll knock your socks off. So I'm going to quit talking about that right now. But anyway, December 1st, it's going to be at the Appalachian Hat Company, and I'll give you more details later. It might be like a brunch type thing, but that's what we're going to. And then plus, yeah, so we're going to have a number. We're thinking about maybe he just does a brief class on something. Last time we did something like this, Shane did a class on pemmican or how to make pemmican. We're thinking about one of the biggest things where everybody dropped the ball was radios. So he's thinking about bringing in some experts to do radios or something like it. So that's exactly the date we're looking for, and we're hoping to make that happen sooner rather than later. So into the good news. All right, so check this out. Governor Abbott in Texas, pro-Israel speech ban on Texas public school campuses violates the First Amendment, says the court. Okay. Well, this is the section of the show where I probably tick some people off, but you know what? You got your First Amendment, okay? Freedom of, it's not just freedom of speech, y'all. There's 5 things in that First Amendment: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, the right to assemble peaceably and petition the government. There's 5 things in there, okay? And these so-called leaders, governors, whatever, I don't care who you talk about. I don't care. You should have the right to do it. Unless you are inciting violence, I don't care who it is you talk about. You want to talk about Israel, knock yourself out. The fact that they're telling you that he even tried something like this
In Texas.
in anywhere, yeah, but particularly Texas, I'm surprised he didn't get away with it, honestly.
Well, I'm just saying, everybody thinks Texas is a free state.
Well, there's a reason why we moved away from it, okay? Yeah. There are parts of Texas where we lived where the cops will shake you down for the change in your pocket. Yeah, you think, okay, there's no state tax, there's no this, there's no that. But Texas in so many places is a lot better in the brochure. And when you got this polecat governor and he's like, okay, you can't talk and you can't say anything bad about Israel. What? You can say anything bad about anybody as far as I'm concerned. Did you forget read the Federalist Papers, man. Like I said, you want to find out who runs things, find out who you can't criticize. And I'll just leave it right there, because if I go any deeper, we're going to piss off even more people. But frankly, I'm an American first, Jack. American first. And all I know is if we had a bunch of people with dual citizenship that came from, let's say, France, Germany, anybody else, people would have a problem with that. I don't think anybody should have dual citizenship with any other country than the United States of Amnesia. Okay, let me just spell it out that way. Holler if you hear me, y'all. Okay, so here's another one. President-elect Donald Trump to consider banning certain vaccines if they are proven risky. Well, heavens to Murgatroyd. This is coming from the same guy who did Operation Warp Speed. Wish you would have had this policy on the front end, bruh. But here we are now. So I'm going to call that a win. And, Kennedy's basically, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is basically one of the people that's heading that up. So, so the Children's Health Defense, who we're looking to work with concerning some of the testing that we got going on out here. The wheels move kind of slow in an organization like that. But anyway, that's some of the people we're trying to work with. In terms of getting some of our testing. They're basically the ones leading that charge. Look, I don't trust any of these people, certainly any of the politicians, but I'm really digging where this might go. Because now, bodily, okay, my body, my choice regarding everything else. Well, what about what you tell me I got to put? How many people took this thing? A lot of people I know of took that thing because either A, they were going to lose their job, B, they had family that wouldn't. I can't even believe how many people were using their children as leverage. For grandparents. There were people that got it there, and we know some folks right now that are dealing with some major health concerns because C, they wanted to travel. Okay, it wasn't necessary travel, They just had to travel, and now some of those people are either dead or in a bad shape. But look, on the bright side, there are some ways to mitigate some of that stuff, and I've talked about it in the podcast in the past. So maybe that's going to be some good news. All right, so here's the last one. Protecting your homestead, practical tips for long-term farm and livestock security. Hey, I've actually done a video on some of this stuff. Remember, here at Billy's Jungle Palace of Love, we got rings of security like you would have around the President of the United States. Unless he's speaking at a rally in Pennsylvania, and then those, security rings don't necessarily apply. That's if we can even believe the story. I wasn't there, so I don't know what happened. But anyway, we got an outer fence, okay? It's all woven wire. And yeah, that stuff ain't cheap, and it goes around everything. So that's your one ring. Now, I'm not talking about what's in this article yet, but basically, this is how we do it. So with the President of the United States, theoretically, you should have rings of security. You got an outer, inner, and, some really close ones. Amazingly, none of that worked out for Kennedy. And we're going to be approaching November 22nd here before long. But anyway, we got our outer security, which is basically our outer fence. And then, of course, we got wire around each animal system. So think about this. If you're a would-be coyote, you got to, first of all, get over the woven wire, which you could do. But then you got the greatest Pyrenees waiting on the other side of you, okay? Yeah, you might be able to navigate him. And then you're going to get Kentucky Fried with a fence that has about 5,000 to 10,000 volts on it. And then you got to get them. You got to get past all of that. So if you're a coyote or any other would-be critter out there wanting to get after mine, or a two-legged critter, a person, well, yeah, it's going to be tough for you to do it. You're probably going to pick a softer target. So in this article, it says implement a good security system. Okay, I think I've just described that. And in accordance with military doctrine, remember, I'm also a U.S. Army sapper. Remember, to make anything secure, or secure as you can make it, like let's say the border between North and South Korea, or let's say the border at Guantanamo Bay, you have to do these three things. You have to have an obstacle. It has to be observed, and it has to be covered by a threat. That's exactly what I described on our homestead. That's exactly what we employ here. So if you can do that on your own place, remember, obstacle has to be observed, and it has to be covered by a threat. Well, I got my greatest Pyrenees, and he's doing two of those things right now during the day. And then we got some other measures in there that I'm not going to talk about. Install early warning systems. I did a video around the 4th of July, maybe a couple of years ago, where I put tripwires out there using those little poppets, the little things you pull on 4th of July, and then it has confetti come out there. Well, it also makes noise. It's low tech, but it works. So if you have avenues of approach where people are likely to walk through, that's where you can put tripwires and stuff like that. I'm giving you the G-rated version of how you can do some of this stuff. So that's one of your early warning systems. And this article is more aimed at the two-legged predators than the four ones, okay? Secure entry points. Okay, obviously those are going to be gates and things like that, but that could also be a choke point. Remember, I talked about before, multi-floor rows could actually be your best friend if you're using it as a border, because, look, 9 times out of 10, a thief is lazy, okay? They're going to pick the avenue of easiest approach. Trust me, at night, they are not going through multi-floor rows to get to you. So you can use that as a deterrent, but you can also channel them. Remember, a minefield in the military is not like the movies where it's meant to blow people up. It's meant to channel your enemy. That is what it's meant to do. Well, you can do the same exact thing on your homestead. In my homestead, okay, you basically have one means of entry if you're in a vehicle or even on foot. If you go any other way, then there might be something waiting on you. You can even use low-tech stuff. Folks, I'm working on a book, if I can ever find 2 minutes to work on it, where I'm talking about a lot of this stuff, where it's basically permaculture overlaid with military doctrine, which I can't believe the book hasn't been written. Hopefully, I didn't just give somebody the idea to steal it out from under me, but the idea is there's things that have been going on since World War I, like Tanglefoot. Used it effectively in World War II. It could be used as a growing medium. It could also be used to tangle up somebody who's trying to get to where they shouldn't be. And if they get impaled on a U-shaped picket, my bad. Using identification means for your livestock. Okay, I don't know how many of you cattle rustlers are running around these days, but I guess you could do that on your chickens. A lot of folks, Hey, bro, you got my duck. I mean, what are you going to do? You know, I mean, obviously we do it on cows and stuff like that, but yeah, so that's one of the things they talk about in here. Secure livestock pens. Well, everything moves every day, so nothing's permanently secure, except for what we're going to do with the chickens later this year, where we're going to put them in the high tunnel, and we're going to try a little experiment there. Now, obviously, keep animals clean and dry. It depends on the animal. A chicken can be wet, and a chicken can be cold, but a chicken can't be wet and cold unless you want a dead chicken. So you got to think about that. They can deal with some, I mean, folks, they can deal with some cold that'll blow your mind, especially when you peek in your chicken coop at night. I don't care how big it is. I mean, the general rule is that's how much room you need for a chicken, you know, the width of a man's hand generally. Yeah. Go in there and watch how many chickens you could actually stick in the chicken tractor, because they get all hugged up, especially in the wintertime. I mean, you couldn't put a match between them. That's how close they are. So clean feeding and watering areas. Okay. That's kind of speaks for itself. Watch for germs that can reach your livestock. For those watering containers and stuff for your chickens, you know, chlorine dioxide, trade them out, put some chlorine dioxide in there. I gave you some sources on where you can get some of that stuff. Minimize contact with with outside animals. Yeah, there's a whole lot of, you want to make sure if you bring in a new animal, you want to make sure you sequester that animal for a while for a whole variety of reasons. Pay attention to your animals, okay? Maintain proper density. Look, homesteaders can be the best thing in the world, or they can be the worst. And in most cases, we are the worst. I'll be honest with you. You get too many animals out there, and you have way too many animals for the amount of land that you have. So you got to be thinking about that stuff. Your density, your animal density has to be on point, and it's something of a science. I mean, I would rather have too few animals than too many. You could always go back out there with a weed whacker if they didn't do enough, disturbance. Get security dogs. I talked about that. Okay, I'm done with this one. So, I mean, a lot of this stuff is pretty much, common sense. So I'm not going to keep going on with that. All right, y'all. I want to thank everybody once again for coming in. If you would hit that thumbs up, we're going to go to Eric Sider, and then we're going to talk about what it's like. We got a new president and what you might be wanting to look out for.
Hey, Eric Sider here with your Pimpcast tip of the day. Today's tip: divided we fall. Social media has made it impossible to get a balanced perspective on the world. The algorithms create a smaller and smaller bubble of information. You have to actively try to get a different perspective outside of that bubble. So the majority of people only see what they agree with and think everyone thinks like they do. The system is designed to divide us. Every 4 years, half of the country is trying to get out of the matrix while the other half goes right back in. They should just have timeshare homesteads that change hands every election cycle. Fear is not a sustainable energy source to live this lifestyle. You have to truly love it, and most people don't want to grow their own food. The only way to get those people to participate is to change the whole system. I watched a documentary on Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he talked about his time as the governor of California and how he would publicly argue with his political opponents, but behind the scenes, they were all working together. It's all theater. You don't get to be president if you actually are going to change the system. That's why it can only happen from the ground up. We need local, resilient, and abundant communities based on food and self-reliance, and they must prioritize tolerance over consensus. These hot-button political issues that keep us divided have no effect on the system itself. Food is the starting point. It's the universal connector, and it's the only way we can actually change the system without depending on the system itself. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram at Eric Sider, and if you're in need of permaculture t-shirts or remote permaculture consultation and design, head over to ericsider.com.
That's my dog right there, y'all. Boy, how is it every single time he beats me to the punch? I need to listen to, I never listen to what he's going to say because I want an honest reaction. I seriously do not listen until I'm listening to it with the rest of you. I honestly do. I do that on purpose because I want an honest reaction out of myself. But honestly, there's times where I'm reluctant because He just kind of stole everything I was going to talk about. So,
Well, yeah.
well, no, I mean, but at the same time, he's knocking it out of the park. And I go back to that J.R.R. Tolkien quote: "The most improper job of any man, even saints, is bossing other men. Not one in a million is fit for it, and least of all those that seek the opportunity," which is exactly why I don't play by this system. And like I said the last time, I mean, some people applauded that monologue I did last time, saying, "Look, I'm sovereign. I don't care who gets in there. I'm still going to live the way I want to. Your laws don't apply to me because I don't allow them to apply to me." But Eric's hit on a bunch of stuff right there, and we're going to get into that. But before we do, EMP Shield, $50 off with promo code PERMA. Remember, your number one threat is going to be lightning every single time when it comes to your house. Yeah, EMP is probably most certainly an issue right now, but your number one threat is lightning. And if anything gets past that one on your house and Kentucky Fries anything downstream, bam, they're going to cover you for 25 G's. So get $50 off with discount code PERMA at empshield.com. All right, so got a new president in the United States of Amnesia. And I'm not going to go through it again, y'all. I don't trust him or any other politician. He's not the second coming. He's not any of those things. In fact, from the top of my head, I think I could probably fill volumes with all the reasons why I think you shouldn't trust him or any other politician for that matter. But Eric hit on something, and that's going to be the first thing I cover right out of the bat. I kid you not. I've seen it. I've been at this. We've been at this preparedness permaculture game for well over 25 years, y'all. We've been at this for a long, long time. And tell me if I'm wrong. Every single time a Republican gets elected, all the people that were in the preparedness, permaculture, and practical living, they go right back in the matrix. Not all of them, but a fair number of them. In fact, a lot of you out there right now, just go ahead and call the realtor, because you know you're going to sell that place that you bought out in the country, that you bought because you thought there was going to be another Democrat out there, not realizing, like Eric said, that all of these people, Jesse Ventura said the same exact thing. Jared Salenti, all these insiders. Look, I've worked in the political game before. I worked as a political commentator when I was working at KMBZ in Kansas City. And I'm telling you right now, they are all stinky polecats, which is, despite everybody telling me, hey, you should run for office or whatever, they would JFK me for real. Because I can't be bought. You're not going to corrupt me. What are you going to do? Offer me like a really, really awesome steak? Because your money doesn't mean anything to me, because it doesn't mean anything now. So the point of it being, folks, all of you folks, I want you to listen carefully to this. All of you folks that are looking for land and you can't find it right now, mark my words. 6 months from now, provided some great calamity doesn't befall us, if things keep on, the status quo keeps driving on the way it is, 6 months from now, I promise you, you're going to be able to swoop up land with a butterfly net, because it happens every single time. There are these people that get into this space simply because they think, oh, shoot, the world's falling. Kamala Harris is going to be in there, not realizing that both of them work for the same interest. Look who backed both of them. See who the donors were that backed both sides, and you'll find out who's really running things, okay? I'll leave that for you I could tell you, but it's not going to do you any good. Go out there and find out for yourself. Find out who backed both candidates, and you find out who's really running things in the United States of Amnesia. So, just like Eric said, they're going right back into the matrix. It happens every single time. In fact, when we lived in Kansas, it was almost comical, because the same people, whenever election time would roll around, you'd see them show back up to the preparedness meetings. And then the second it went their way, or what they thought was their way, acquiescence. And it happens every single time. So all of you people that are serious about finding some land, about going out here, hacking it out of the wilderness, whatever the case may be, and all this land is tied up, just hold steady. You're going to see a lot of places in the country coming on the market. I guarantee. No doubt about that. So let's just talk about this. What's actually going to change? First of all, my man he actually gets inaugurated on our anniversary. And that'll be 30 years. 30 years for us anyway. Yeah. 30 years. Yeah, she doesn't look it, does she? Yep. Your grandma with more curves than the goat
Oh
pass.
my goodness, Billy. Stay on topic.
I'm on topic. I'm just telling everybody how hot you are. So 30 years. Wow. So anyway, there's an old saying. There's ever a slip between a cup and a lip. So how much time do you have between now until the 20th? What do you think could jump off between now and then? And there's already people like, party! Trump's in office. Yeah, let's go out here and do our thing. Like I said, you got until the 20th. And does it seem like the transition so far, because every prognosticator of doom out there has been telling you, oh, they're going to burn this whole place down. Yeah, it was a decisive butt whooping. But despite that, think of what had to happen. You had to have, if you don't have the fidelity of your elections, you live in a third world country. Folks, the only way they pulled this out, and they're still robbing Carrie Lake out there, the only way they pulled this out is because of early voting on the Republican side. And just for the record, I'm not a Republican, okay? Not a Democrat either. So let me just put that out there for all the people that are checking it out. Think about it. The only way, according to people like Dan Bongino, who I do not like, the only way they pulled this off is because of early voting. They couldn't rig it. The fact that it can be rigged tells you live in a banana frickin' republic. So what happens on the midterms or the next elections where everybody doesn't get out there en masse and vote? If you don't have the fidelity of your elections, you live in a third world banana republic. So until you get back to paper ballots, we're still talking about dimple chads. Man, they can kiss my dimple chad. Dimple chads, this and that. I mean, come on, man. Electronic voting, it is insane. It is absolutely insane. So you still don't have the fidelity of your elections, and you don't have anybody talking about it. Okay. So you got RFK Jr. being brought in. Anybody out there know for sure where he's being brought in? Yeah, they're going to say put him in the health department. Why? After the next administration, first of all, why are you not putting him at the Justice Department? Maybe then we find out who really killed his dad and his uncle. Okay? Maybe we actually find out who actually did it. So there's talk, because I haven't heard officially announced yet or officially proclaimed, but supposedly he's going to be at the health department. Okay. Tell me how much good's going to happen. And this is why, folks, I'm saying don't put your guard down. In fact, you ought to be ramping it up, because I know I am. Because think about this. Until they come up with a way to fire federal workers, and believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I was a federal worker. So were you. I was a federal worker on 2 different occasions, okay? And I'm telling you, some of the most worthless life forms in terms of bureaucracy are located in the federal system. Until you can fire those people, you ain't moving the needle nowhere, Jack, because politicians come and go, bureaucrats stay forever. So until there is a way, and I want to see this happen. So supposedly the Republicans have the House, they have the Senate. We could say kind of they have the Supreme Court, and they got the White House, okay? Here's your chance. Learn to fire federal workers. Yeah, and I know there's some federal workers out there like, oh, I can't stand you, you arrogant black bastard. Yeah, I know that they're calling me everything in the book. Look, I don't care. You want to fix the problem? I'm an American first. Okay? And until you can get rid of federal workers, until you can get rid of entrenched bureaucrats, you ain't changing nothing. All right? So that's got to happen. Anything going to change on domestic spying? Talk to me about that one. When Trump was in there, I didn't see him get rid of the National Defense Authorization Act. The one Obama enacted. You think maybe these guys might be working together? You could have done away with that. Yeah. And go look at when Obama did it. If I'm not mistaken, it was on Christmas or New Year's, something like that, during his administration. Look at what they are able to do under the National Defense Authorization Act. They can snatch you out of your home without even telling your spouse, lock you up indefinitely, and supposedly that's legal. Guess our Bill of Rights doesn't matter anymore? Has that changed? Is it going to change? I keep everybody and their great grandmothers kind of hit me up lately, and I'm gonna talk about this, and I'm probably gonna tick some people off. But since when do I care about that? Everybody's telling me, Well, Joel Salatin's going to be brought in at the USDA. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. I like Joel. Joel's a friend of mine. I just got finished sending him an email not long before, regarding some of this stuff in Western North Carolina. I love Joel. Unimpeachable integrity, fantastic man, brilliant in so many different ways. Genius. Why didn't they put him in charge of the USDA? You're going to bring him in as a flipping advisor? The guy who literally wrote the book on how to fix every bit of this. And you bring him in as an advisor, and then now you said, according to the media, what's his name that they said they were going to bring in as the ag secretary? Apparently he's not going to do it. Thomas Massey.
Oh, I didn't say that. I don't know.
You just read it to me. Just before we got on here, he said Thomas Massey said that he wasn't actually accepting the position for ag secretary.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think I read that to you.
Yeah, you read it to me.
I don't.
Yeah, you read it to me.
The only thing that I read before this is Alex Jones posted on X that he would accept the press secretary position.
And he did that just to I guarantee it. He did it, which by the way, I don't trust Alex Jones either. He's a gateway drug.
Nope. He'd be better than the current
yeah.
press secretary.
Yeah, I can give you the chapter and verse on why I don't trust Alex Jones either, but he's a good gateway drug. I'll give him that. But honestly, he did a pretty good job of trolling. I guarantee there's going to be some people losing. I would love to see Alex Jones as the press secretary. I mean, it would be the most entertaining.
I would watch
People would tune
every
in for the press
gathering.
every single press conference. He would have them people in there crying. I think it would be a great addition. Plus, I mean, he would honestly think circles around these people because honestly, most of these people that I've worked with people in the media, folks, and they are some of the dumbest life forms you've ever seen in your life. I mean it. I mean, dumbest. And this was in talk radio. I mean, if they weren't reading it, they had no ability. You could go to a dinner party or whatever, see them there, and they couldn't even tell you what. You ask them about anything that's going on in the world, and they couldn't even have a discussion about it. That's how dumb they are. But honestly, I would love to see Alex Jones as press secretary. I think that'd be hilarious. But I think he's trolling everybody. But okay, so RFK Jr., you're going to put him in over there. Okay, so they're talking about Joel to bringing him in as an advisor to whomever is going to be running USDA, whatever the case may be. Okay, advisor. You want to know one of the tricks we used to do in the union? Whenever if you're a business manager in a lot of unions out there, and those of you who are union members are going to know what I'm talking about. If you have a person in your membership who's constantly a thorn in your side, what do? You bring them on board. You bring them on board. I'm dead serious. This is the tactic you do. You bring them on board because now all of a sudden they have a high reluctance in criticizing you if they're on board with you. Now, is that going to happen to Joel? I don't know. But at the end of the day, he's a freaking advisor. How much do you think he's actually going to do there? I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I would love to be able to say, folks, if I sound pessimistic, I think I got every right to be. How many times have you been told from Trump and all these other people, we're going to drain the swamp? And every swamp creature, John Bolton, for crying out loud, he brought in the last administration. John Kill 'em all Bolton. Every single swamp creature you could think of, he had in his administration. Now there's talk of Mike Pompeo running the State Department. Mike Pompeo. I mean, folks, you're going to find out in short order that I'm going to make this prediction right now. Okay, you're going to see it unfold just like Machiavelli writes in The Prince. All the bad stuff you do it once. You do it all at the same time. And the good stuff you do it over time. It's Machiavelli 101. And I think that's exactly what you're going to see unfold right now. What about foreign policy? Okay. No. Let me back up a little bit. You got one of my heroes in the space, Ron Paul. Okay. Ron Paul. They're going to bring him in as an advisor. Huh. Why wouldn't you put Ron Paul in charge of the Department of the Treasury? But you're going to bring him in as an advisor like you're doing Joel. The people that are most capable and have the ability to solve the actual problems that are going on, you're bringing them in as advisors. I mean, just to provide a little pablum for the proletariat like us out here. That's exactly what I see going on, and I don't care who I piss off. You ain't did nothing yet, as far as I'm concerned. And so far, everybody I see floated for and you can't really go on it just yet, but everybody I see floated in any of these so-called cabinet positions are all swamp creatures. Look who they work for. Look who they've worked for. And you tell me you're going to see any difference? And you're going to acquiesce right now. You're going to go back into the matrix. You're going to go out there. You're going to sell the place you got in the country. And you're going to go right back into that matrix, just like Eric talked about, because Trump got into office. Based on what I saw the first time, you're going to have to show me something, Jack. And then here it is. I mean, you got Ron Paul, Mr. N the Fed himself, and you're not going to put him in a cabinet position? Don't tell me he doesn't know his way around D.C. You're not going to put him in charge of the Treasury? How about getting rid of entirely some of these departments? Do you need a Department of Education? Do you? Oh, hey, we need to go ahead and show you how to indoctrinate. We did better. We had a more intelligent population. This is a fact. Check out the work of John Taylor Gatto when we had one-room schoolhouses, y'all. We had a higher literacy rate. If you doubt me, read the letters home that guys that had a fifth grade education in the Civil War wrote back. The prose, the beauty of speech, how they were able to convey so much in just a few sentences. We've lost that. Instead of, oh, I am totally amused, it's LOL. Yeah. So let's go back to the one-room schoolhouse. We don't need a Department of Education. Look, sorry for your bad luck, but you got to go hit the unemployment, Jack. How many other bloated, Department of Homeland Security. Why did we start that? We started it right after that false flag called 9/11, and we created another bureaucracy. Yeah, that's, listening to everything you say under the Telecommunications Act of 1995, I think. Every keystroke you make on your computer, everything you say on the phone, everything you do. And here it is. We're going right back to the same doggone trough. Everybody just descended right down to the bottom of Plato's cave, and you're willing to be spoon-fed this garbage. Look, I'm not believing anything. So y'all can come down on me. You can send me the nasty emails. You can do whatever, but I ain't believing nothing until it happens. And even then, I'm still going to wonder when the other shoe is going to drop. I mean, if you knew anybody out there that lied to you 1/100th of the extent that your government does and the media does, they could tell you they saw the sun rise in the east and you'd go out and check. But because they have these official positions, you dismiss your own understanding. Look, just because a person has PhD behind his name or doctor in front of it doesn't give them a greater share of common sense than you have. So why are you outsourcing your common sense? Because I'm done doing it. I've been done with it for well over 2 decades. And I'm not playing along just because Trump's in there. Yeah. So election reform. What about Fauci? What about all these other people that have done these awful things to all these people out there? How many people are in an early grave because of that moron? How many people are dead because of his policy? Or, you know what? Trump was akin to it. I haven't heard any apologies. When's Fauci going to be tried at The Hague? When's all that going to happen? What about all these other polecats in there? What about these Operation Mockingbird CIA plants that work in the media? Yeah, because that's what most of them are. In fact, I mean, I think it started in 1951, if I'm not mistaken, Operation Mockingbird. And guess what? It has happened from that time until now. All of these people are reading a script. They don't work for you. The fourth estate is for the state. You dig what I'm saying? They don't work for you. They don't work for me. Do your own thinking. And tell every last one of these people they can piss off. So let me kind of bring it back down to earth here. I didn't mean to get so animated on this. But the real truth of it is, when I hear everybody all of a sudden acquiescing, you're going right back. You're descending to the bottom of Plato's cave. You're outsourcing all your common sense when the very people that are running things now are the very people that lied to you before. you're going to have to show me something, Trump. And I don't know what they're saying in the chat right now. Telecom Act of 1996. Okay, I was off a year. Yeah, you're going to have to show me something. I'm not believing anything you or anybody else says. Like I said, the biggest thing that gave me pause is when I got off the air the other night with Jack Spirko, and he says to me, yeah, I just got it officially. They're going to bring in Ron Paul. I said, is it going to be a cabinet position? He says, no, it's going to be. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, yeah, dude, I know what time it is. Why wouldn't you put Mr. N the Fed, the guy who knows how to dismantle this entire beast, this octopus, this serpent, all of this stuff, why wouldn't you give him a cabinet position? Why wouldn't you do that? So anyway, I'm gonna, if we got any questions out there, put them in capital letters. I'm not sure what folks are saying out there. I'm not sure if people are telling me to go. I'm not sure what the response is because I can barely read anything in these glasses. But the truth of it is, y'all can go in that matrix if you want to. You can stop your preparedness if you want to. I think because you feel this lull in the storm right now, this could very well be the rope-a-dope where you sit here and you think, oh, yeah, I'm glad that cackling hen or Kamala, the Ugandan giant, whatever her name is, its name is, that whatever she is, I'm glad she's not in there. But I don't know that you got a better choice because the enemy, folks, I'm going to say this. I wish I had it in front of me right now. In fact, I think I'll probably memorize it. Go check out the Enemy Within speech from Cicero in ancient Rome. Read what he wrote there and talked about, look, the enemy at the gate, I can deal with that. It's the enemy within you got to worry about. Those are the most formidable enemies that you have to worry about. So, yeah, go check out the Enemy at the Gate speech. Folks, I know I'm throwing a lot at you here, but let's see what we got here. Tiffany says, what can we do as Christians to do together to support each other? Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah. So right off, Tiffany, I'm going to say what I said the last time. And I lose people when I talk about this, but hey, I'm a blood-bought soldier of Christ first and foremost. You need to pray. We need to pray and repent. Yeah, somebody got on to me about that the other time, and he's absolutely right. We need to pray. We need to repent profusely. If you just look, don't tell me we ain't an empire. You got 900 military bases in 130 countries, and you tell me we ain't no empire? Yeah, Rome would only envy itself over what we've created right now. We are the empire. And frankly, y'all, there was a time maybe where we did a lot of good in the world, but I'm not so sure anymore. Well, no, I'm sure we don't anymore. How much bloodshed and war is going on right now? Gaddafi, Libya was the jewel of North Africa. Look at what we did there. They have slave trading blocks now. And we did that. That's just one country. And don't get me, I could go down the long list of it. But yeah, as Christians, maybe I need to act a little bit more like Christ. Yeah, maybe I ought to ask Ron Paul to go in there and flip over the money changers over at the Fed. I think we need to pray profusely because this country, I think, is in more trouble now than we were even before. And what's even more dangerous is that everybody has acquiesced. Everybody's thinking, oh, shoot, man, boy, we dodged that bullet. I don't know that you did because all of these people work in the same interest, if you ask me. And honestly, if you were to hit me private, I'll put it this way. Show up with Chef Shane on December 1st. If you want to know what I really think, show up there because there's things I think that I can't say on the air right now or they would ban me. Am I some subversive? No. I am a autodidact and I study these things and I have for years. So, yeah. Should we be attached to a flag? Is that Layla that asked that? Oh, wait, who said that? Should we be attached to the flag? Well, I guess it depends on the flag. Sure is funny that I saw Trump standing next to an Israeli flag along with the American flag. What's up with that? Last I checked, I'm an American. Last I checked, he's supposed to be doing what's in the interest of America. So why is any flag on stage with it? But as far as flags, yeah, show up at that meeting and I'll give you an honest answer on that as well. Man, I could get myself in a whole lot of trouble right now, but I think I'm gonna couch that. It says what Trump is going to do. What is Trump going to do to help North Carolina? Okay, thank you. It's funny you bring that up. What is Trump going to do to help North Carolina? What about Maui? What about the other states as well? Yeah, I haven't heard anybody. You know, it sure is funny that the only celebrity that came out to do any kind of fundraising for what was going on in North Carolina was Dolly Parton. And politically, she's on the other side of the spectrum, as I understand it. Way to go, Dolly. You take note that you didn't see a single celebrity out there. You know why? Because they are controlled by the very same interests that could control these politicians. Okay. So that we're not giving commands to go out there and do any. And plus, it's a giant land grab here. They can't have any telethons going over here. You got to keep us hillbillies off these mountains. You know, there's gold in them dire hills, or at least lithium anyway. Yeah. So what is he going to do? I don't know. Look, man, I'm not asking for permission. That's what I'm saying. To sit here and grovel at the feet of federal government or any other government for ain't going to happen. I ain't doing it. And I ain't asking for permission. Free people do not ask for permission. As long as I'm not causing harm in this world, I ain't asking. I'm not going to wait for Joel to get the rules changed at the USDA for me to go out there and process somebody's cow. I'm going to do it illegally. Come and get me. Okay? You're telling me I can sit here and I can go to a potluck. All of us in this chat right now can go to a potluck and bring our own food and we can share it and we can eat it. But none of us can sell it? Tell me how that makes sense. So guess what? I ain't following your rules. Look, I'm not playing by these games and I'm encouraging all of you out there. I'm not asking you to commit any violence. I'm not asking you to do anything that's not in your conscience. But guess what? I don't obey unjust laws. So that's the way it's just going to have to be. Let's see here. Oh, let's see here. I guess we don't have a whole lot of other. Yeah, Flint, Michigan. Still, I'm glad you brought that up. Fed up. Flint, Michigan. Still. What about the water issues up there? Still nothing. But you got how many billions to drop over to Ukraine? We got how many billions to drop over to Israel? Or as Lindsey Graham says, Israel. Yeah, we got billions to give to these people, but we got nothing for the United States of amnesia. And we're worried about groveling. Look, maybe we ought to just not pay taxes. You dig? And then that's another thing, too. Trump was on the Joe Rogan show floating this notion of not paying income tax. Man, don't get me started on that. Don't get her started on it.
Yeah. Somebody left a comment. What would they do if they can't, what would you do if they come to get you? Genuinely curious. Do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do.
I'm not going to stop. I'm at the point, especially with taxes and this current administration, I am done.
We're working on ways to legally get out of the tax structure, and we're going to encourage a lot of other people to do the same after we're done.
They take our money. It's extortion is what it is, and use it for unjust. I mean, it's criminal what they do. I'm not playing with the system anymore.
No. I'm like Kip says, I'm too old to give in now. Man, I'm with that. No, I mean, this whole thing, first of all, why are you taking taxes anyway when you're going to print it anyway? They don't need your tax money. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It is a form of slavery. It is to keep you in serfdom. That's what it is. It's the road to serfdom. That's exactly what they do with these taxes. The fact, in accordance to our Constitution, that these taxes are not, quote, equally apportioned, that is graduated income tax, any of that, it's right out of the Communist Manifesto. Okay? And the fact is, they don't need your tax money. Just like Ron Paul always says, they built most of what's in D.C. without having an income tax. So why do you need it now when you can just go ahead and you can go ahead and print that money anyway? It's not legit. So like I said, when I see legit people, serious people, honest people put in cabinet positions, yeah, then maybe I'll start paying attention. Maybe I'll have a better view on this stuff. Like I said, I knew doing this show tonight, folks, I'm sorry, man, but you can say I have diarrhea of the mouth. You can say I'm just ticking people off. I don't care. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. And based on your performance the last time out, Trump, you got an uphill battle, Jack, to get me on board. If you okay, I'll make you a deal. Get rid of the income tax alone, and overnight you would become the best president in American history.
Yeah, that's true. If he did nothing else, yeah.
Yep. You got rid of, and then you got people so brainwashed out there. Well, you got to pay taxes. No, you don't. No, you don't. To what? Pay a bloated government? To pay the Department of Education, Department of Energy? Look, all these departments there, we don't even need them. You have all these things done on the state level.
And that's one thing that this whole hurricane has proven, from my perspective. The citizens of this county, this whole Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee accomplished. They cleaned up the areas that were flooded. They're rebuilding. They're helping their neighbors. Not a dime of government help. Like they're not needed. Just and like our property taxes that we pay, tired of paying those too. That's what Amy and Ken from Mountainside Homestead brought up. Like you never own your property, because if you don't pay your property taxes, they can come in and take your house, your land, even if it's paid off.
Yeah. So if you're Trump, you want to be known as the greatest president of all time, get rid of the income tax, and then bam, you just did it right there. But you're not going to do it. You know why? Because the people that are holding your puppet strings, you know what? I'm not going to jinx it. I'm going to give you every opportunity to do it. You got Ron Paul in there. You got a lot of other people in there that are advisors. Like I said, sure is curious that they're not in cabinet positions, because they would absolutely decimate. But like I said, the people that are controlling him, yeah, you floated this whole lower my taxes. Lower nothing. I ain't paying nothing, Jack. And I don't think anybody else out there should. Everybody I know around here, we got people that are suffering in these mountains right now that are
being told they're not going to have power for 6 months, going through the winter time without power.
Folks, do you have any idea how much time I am not working on my own farm because I am out here? I'm not saying this to make you feel sorry for me or anything like that. Do you have any idea how much time I'm spending out of every day to remediate all this flipping garbage they got up and down the river in the form of chemicals? So far, we got, I don't even know how many dead cadaver dogs. We have, I don't know how many people that have been hospitalized, but you're not hearing about that. Lady that lost all of her goats. We got black rubber boots coming back green, but we got this, I almost said a bad word, which I don't necessarily have a problem with, but I don't use those. I'm more creative than that. But we got this polecat over here as governor going out here telling you everything's just fine out here in Marshall, North Carolina. Well, I got news for you. Things ain't fine. I am losing money in my own businesses because I'm having to go out here and do the job that the federal government, the state governments are supposed to be doing. We got people that are living in shanties right now, and I got to go out here and help these people on my time, somehow figure out how I'm going to raise millions of dollars to help remediate this crap. And this is time and energy and money I don't have. I don't have this. But somehow we got to find a way to get it done. And you're telling me I still got to pay taxes?
And have all that money sent to Israel and Ukraine.
Yeah.
While the citizens of this country that have paid into the tax system their whole lives are going without power for the year.
Yeah. So Trump, you want to make yourself the greatest president of all time? Get rid of the taxes. You know what? There's only 4 ways to spend money. And I've talked about it before. Spending other people's money on other people, spending other people's money on yourself, spending your money on other people, and spending your money on your interests. In that quadrant, how much more money could I tithe? How much more money could I give away to Grindstone Ministries? How much more money could I give to Caleb House? How much more money could I give to my pastor? I got 2 pastors, by the way. how much more money and how many more things, how much more could I do better in this world when I don't have other people spending other people's money, my money? You want to be the greatest president of all time? Get rid of these flipping taxes. You can start right there. And if you get that done, you will have written yourself, good night. That alone would do it. We would have, but let's see if you do it. So right now, the jury's out. I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. And I don't trust what you're doing. And folks, I'm sorry to belabor this thing so much. I know there's a lot of folks in the chat right now. We're probably going to need to bring this to a close right here because honestly, I just told you that I got rid of all my health concerns, but I'm about to bring them back if I keep talking about this stuff because honestly, it's just, I don't talk about it much, but it's honestly pissing me off to no end that I can't move forward in my own business and on my own farm. I got things that need attention, but what am I to do? I got to figure out how to make this compost on a windrow scale so these old ladies down by the river that we talked to last week
and it's not
ain't
just
dying.
the old, yeah, and the kids down there playing by the river, and who knows what else we're dealing with. But like, yeah, you're gonna have to.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, sorry to get so passionate tonight. This is not at all where I intended this podcast to go. But hey, I want to thank everybody out there in the chat. Thank you so much for coming in. And I want to thank y'all for your support. Look, if you like this podcast or like I said, we're going to try to keep doing it live. And I'm going to try to get to a point where I'd love to be able to do like a call-in show like the old time radio thing. Got to figure out how to do that somehow, some way. I would love to be able to do that instead of just reading it right there on the screen, where we can get people to actually call in. I'm surprised YouTube hasn't enabled that capability yet. But folks, once again, I'm going to ask you, pray for us. We got a lot of pressure on here trying to do a lot of things, and I know a lot of you out there do as well.
And we pray for you guys as well. I want you to know that.
Yeah, we do. When we lay down at night, we pray for y'all. And we're going to ask you to, once again, pray for wisdom and discernment on our parts. There's a lot of grifters out there, a lot of people trying to get to the front of the trough with all this. Like I said, there's been thousands and thousands of dollars offered here, but I'm not going to take a dime until we need it, until I know that we need it, because I know folks are struggling to put bread on the table as it is right now. So, and money doesn't motivate me. So, you know what does? A good hand pie that she makes out of blueberries that, or the birthday cake that I didn't get that wasn't, that, or, honestly, the joy of my day every day is when I move these animals and I see how they behave. I mean, those are the things in this world that matter to me. And, look, we're going to be farmers out here, we're going to kind of need an earth. So we need one that's clean. And, folks, just pray for us that we're able to move the ball and to remove any grifters that may be trying to get in, because there's a lot of people coming out there with their hands out. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Until next time, stay alert.
Stay alive.
They don't want an individual, just a carbon copy. You spitting that manicotti, yeah, I'm talking saucy. All they want to build is a prison world full of pet Tamagotchis. Like a kamikaze, got me out of body like I'm Goku SS3. They want to push me to the center like a cell. They want to split up at the center of the nexus, me. They want me to bow down, but I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. I will never bow down, 'cause I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. They want me to bow down, but I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior.